Okay, perfect. Who here has participated in a physical lab like this before? Okay, a few people, a few not. Who here doesn't know what labs is? Okay, that was a test. Cool. So basically, you guys are our last lab of Mega Camp. So, yes. All the hard work's been done. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So what we've been doing at Mega Camp is a very unique, a first-time lab. Some people call those hackathons. We call it going from ideation to production. So what we've done is we've asked agents before you that were in these labs. We've done about 3 per day, so about 50 agents per day. What new Kelle skill do you want us to build? And we built it within 3 days. And so give a round of applause to the team behind you, the developers, designers. And so what we want to do today, and that's going to be built fairly soon, we're doing some last touches, and we'll release it to the App Store, is generally we want to get your feedback about how you'd use this in your business. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you all the work that happened before you, and then we're going to show you what we have based on all that feedback for V2. And we want your guys' feedback to shape it, to let us know how you want it to work for you. Does that make sense? So what I ask people in the participating labs, I always ask 2 things. 1, be honest. Tell us what you really think. Okay, so I ask you what your favorite color is. Don't tell me red. Well, unless it is red, but that's red. And 2, just be selfish. What do you want for you, right? You get, a lot of people sometimes get a group think and, hey, that sounds great, but what do you really want? How would you really use it? So I'll ask you to do those 2 things. So to kick us off, I'm going to show you, day 1 was ideation. That was Tuesday, not that long ago, but it seems like decades ago. And what we did is basically we went through the exercise and said, hey, like, you guys have access to command now. What kind of Kelle skills would you like? And we had about over 50 ideas. And then we did some exercises, some 3D mapping, and said, okay, cool. Like, if you had 1 vote, you can only pick 1 idea, what would that idea be? And so we went through and voted with agents, with our team, and ultimately we came to our top 4. And then we were like, okay, how many of these 4 can we really fit in? And the Kelle skill the agents have decided to build was find agents or find clients near me. So using Kelle in your location, you can find contacts near you from your database. There was a couple of use cases we heard. 1 was doing drop-bys. I'm in the area. Hey, who do I know that lives around here? 2 is open house invites. 3 was actually going to listing presentation saying, hey, let me show you how many buyers I know in this area. 4, like seeing market share, knowing like what areas you're good at, what areas you need to farm, and things of that sort. So there's a ton of use cases, and at the end of this, once we go through this, I'd love to hear your thoughts of how you would use this in your business. So day 1, we did ideation. We decided we're going to go down, we're going to go build this Kelle skill. And then day 2, on Wednesday, you'll see here, is we did a design lab, where we went through and basically showed them a mock-up of V1 and said, hey, what do you like, what do you not like, what's missing, what would you like to add? And so groups, they were all put their design caps on. They helped us think through the experience, the user flow, the icons, the colors, etc. And then yesterday we incorporated that into a clickable prototype. So we had a clickable prototype we put it in front of agents and said, okay, what would you click on next? What do we think about this screen? Challenge your assumptions. Make sure basically we validated the designs the agents had before. Okay. And then today is the last day. Today's called iteration. And so what we're really looking at is, okay, so I'm going to show you actually the V1 designs. And then I'm going to show you what the feedback we got latest from our 7:30 a.m. lab. Yeah, it's been early labs. And we made changes already based off their feedback, and then we want to get your guys' feedback so we're set up for success. Sound good? Any questions before we get started? Okay, awesome. So real quick, I'm going to do a little bit of talking, and then I'm going to let you guys do a little bit of talking. But essentially, I want this to be a collaborative environment, right? This is a lab. There's no such thing as a bad idea. I always joke, we don't build technology for you guys. That's not what we do here. We build it with you. So if it sucks, it's your fault. Just kidding. That's a joke, yeah. As a thank you, I only have you for 1 hour, so I'm going to be mindful of your time. As a thank you for your time, you will receive a free Labs t-shirt right here. You see the Kelle blue. And what's really cool about this one, if you show it on the back, it says Kelle Dev Team. That's what you guys are on. You can't get this shirt anywhere else. They don't sell it in that store. Please don't put it on eBay. So wear it loud and proud.
Kelly's watching.
Yeah, show the Kelle skill you built. Yeah, Kelly's not watching. It's not a Russian. Cool. Okay. So I want to walk you through a review. I'm going to walk you through the experience of what we have built. This was Wednesday. So it's changed a little bit. We'll show you how, but I'll walk you through it. So the basic idea was, hey Kelly, show contacts near me. You pop up, there are 6 contacts nearby, and here are those contacts within 5 miles. And so once you click that card to view a map, the map would expand. And who here has the most latest Kelly update on their phone? There's a map on there, you can play with it, you guys are familiar with it. So we basically go in that experience and essentially show you those 5 in relation to your location. And then you can start doing some cool things. One is you can filter by what you want to see. So some feedback we got, well, hey, it's great to see my clients, but also I like to see agents. Team leaders love that idea. In the database, if you have an agent's home address, it would show up. If you did not, they would be closer to the closest market center, much like referrals. Going from there, we click contacts, and then we click one of these icons, and we'll see Jim Wilson pops up 0.1 mile away. We'll see, based on agent's feedback, we change what that pop-up looks like. But essentially, you would see where Jim Wilson is, how far away he is in relation to you, and then you can pull up a list view to see all those contacts as well. So two things agents wanted to do with this information that we put into the designs and in the app. One is contact, very quickly, text, call, email. Hey, I'm in the area. I wonder if you're available for a swing by. 2 is directions. How do I get to this house? And then people wanted, how do I get to multiple houses in case I want to do door knock? That's not going to make it a V1, but directions 1-to-1 will happen. And then next I also wanted to filter. So saying, okay, cool, I see the contacts near me. What if I want to see specific contacts near me? What if I want to see home address and work address? So we went through and created those filter experiences. And then very quickly, when you tap on that icon where I saw Jim Wilson, we'll pull up his contact information. And we basically challenge agents saying, what's the most important information you need immediately? Because ideally, that's what you want to see, especially if you're on the road. We don't want you texting and driving. But if you want to do a drop-by, you can very quickly see the information. Makes the moves. Here we see some icons, call, text, email, basic contact information. Tags was a big one, filtering by tags. Hot lead, vendor, etc. Social media was a big one. People say, well, hey, if I want to do a drop-by, I'm not going to talk to them in 3 months. I kind of want to see what their activity is. So I can check out their Facebook really quick. And then collaborators. This was a very interesting idea. A lot of agents said, hey, I'm on a team. I'd like to see who else is engaged in conversation with them on my team. But also, then we got the idea of vendors. So vendors might not have access to KW Command, but I can still see that this is the lender they worked with, this is the carpenter I recommended to them, and I can maybe have context around the conversation like, hey, how'd that go? That was a new idea. We had to have collaborators in Command. So this is all integrated with Command, right? So everyone here has access to Command now, once you put your database on there, now essentially you can interact with that database via Kelly. Right, so this is a really new way to interact there. And then obviously everything that you see here, you can also make edits, you can add collaborators, that would be reflected in Command. So that's a little bit of a challenge from us. And development-wise, we have some dependencies on the Command team, or the Kelly team here. But we figured out how to make it work. And so essentially that's the skill. Everyone have a pretty good understanding? Any questions on what the skill is?
Will it allow you to import from your phone, like your phone's database?
Import your phone's database into contactless. So into Command right now, I think we can do CSV, we have an EH integration, Google Contacts.
Like if I wanted to import
Yeah, so he's talking about can he import from his phone his contacts into Command. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm pretty sure you can't do that today. But yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So as far as any questions on this skill in particular, because I'd like to jump into what the new designs we have. I think we have a question right here. You get our microphone.
Will you be able to eventually broadcast a video to your database?
Okay, let's get to that in the exercise real quick. Yeah. So what I'd like to show you guys next, real quick, is this was V1. Today's Friday, a lot's happening. So we're going to show you, as the screen loads up, we're going to show you essentially where we are today. So we showed that on Tuesday. We went through some iterations based off the feedback. And we're going to show you what agents before you came up with. And what I need you to do is tell me what you like, what you don't like, and what you do differently. And so we have Svetlana and Nathan with microphones. So throughout this, I'll be asking questions. They'll come to you. Use the mic so everyone can hear you loudly. So essentially, this is the same screen we started on, right? Show contacts near me, 6 contacts nearby. There's something a little bit different. There's some color on the map. Any idea what those colors could be?
Buyer, seller.
Buyer, seller, groups. Contacts? Okay. How long it's been since you talked to them? Cool. All right. So what we do is we're going to open up this card. We're going to view on the map. And we can see the map's actually pretty drastically changed. We kind of put list view and map together. And what you'll see here is this is the evolution of the map. And then this is the list view here. And essentially, they're kind of in an order. So my question to you is, first, what do we think about this screen compared to V1? How do we feel about it? A lot easier, Jay?
It's a lot clearer, right? The other view was just giving me a little snip, and then I have to tap an extra icon. Now I can see everything in one quick view and interact faster.
Okay.
I have a question.
Question?
As far as visibility for old eyes, a lot of it's really small, so being able to make it just slightly bigger so that I could see it without having to would make it a whole
Yeah, so having the ability to enlarge not just the text but the icons as well, I assume.
The key is to buy a larger phone. The new phone's coming out next.
And my text is, but it's not adaptive in the app.
Not adaptive in the accessibility.
Cool. Did you have a comment?
You asked about what we like about it, like the filters, like insights, listings. You can click on those.
You like those as well? Great.
Can you read across what those are? 'Cause I can't see.
Yeah, so I'll read. This is agents, contacts, insights, listings, and snapshots. So insights, listings, snapshots, you have in Kelle today. The idea was how can you switch from overlay those on top of each other? And so something interesting that we did is, for example, if you click listings, some new dots popped up. What do we think those dots mean?
The listings themselves. The listings and the status.
Okay, okay. Status, what are the, so we see 3 different colors, green, yellow, red.
Sold, pending, active.
Okay, okay. Sold, active, pending. So you'd like to see FSBOs as well? Okay, what color are we gonna get FSBOs?
Yellow.
Yellow? What about
Something
pending?
I think opportunity should be as dark as possible.
Dollar signs.
Dollars.
Yeah! Dollar signs on the for sale by when it expires. Make
You
it
said it.
happen.
I like that.
Bold if you want
How
it.
about purple? How about purple?
Okay,
Purple's all about
Bold, yeah.
Bold.
maybe.
Tie them together.
Cool, cool, great feedback. One of the things we had, so you can see listings by status. Is there any use case, we had a kind of a conversation about whether you want to see all listings or just Kelle Williams listings?
All.
Any use case you'd want to see just Kelle Williams listings?
Yeah.
Filter?
I think it comes down to the filter, right? So if I want to, as a team leader, maybe I want to pop in and learn the inventory of mine or open house view, right? Be able to say, hey, I'm going to go stop in and see my agents there. And the reality is, it's really different from the MLS. I want access to all that data right away and then quickly filter out when I want to see exclusively my agents or others.
Cool, cool. Okay, awesome, great feedback. So going, we're going to move away from listings. Going back to here, so we see the same colors. We also see colors down here. What do we think those colors mean?
How long it's been since you contacted that individual?
How long it's been since we contacted that individual? Yeah. So this was something feedback we got that said, hey, see my database is great, but by default, I'd love to see last contacted by. And so we did is we created some filters. There's different ways to view this, but what the agent said for us is that was the #1 thing they wanted to see. So my question to you is, do they get it right? Is that, when you open up a map view, is that how you want these to be color-coded by default based on the last time you had a touch with them?
Yeah. And the red makes it urgent.
I said I like that. I think that the red, especially if we're thinking about this from a pop by type of situation, and you have limited time, as we all do. I may decide, okay, you know what? I haven't talked to these 2 reds in 3 months versus, the 2 yellows. I'm gonna focus on getting in touch with them before, so it'll help you prioritize, you know, which people you're going to be able to stop in on.
Yeah. I think one thing I would do differently to really make it pop, because it's kind of subtle, is I would make it a solid banner color at the bottom and white text so that I know red, I know yellow, I know my contact reach, just to really pop in my face, because right now, from this view, it kind of blends in and I can't really tell that that was identifying who's my now, who's my soon, who's my later.
So just to clarify what I heard, you would replace the white with the actual color.
Not the whole thing, just like the bottom where it says the contact time, like what's that right there? What's that like?
3+ months ago.
Okay, that I would highlight to remind me, and a solid color make that white text. So I still like the white view. I just want a little bar to really indicate and highlight, hey, this is your alert. The color's getting darker the longer it's been.
No, great feedback. Yes. Yeah.
So as a team leader, my contact information, of course, I would want all of my agents. And if that can also be the same way, meaning my team has not contacted an agent or spoken to an agent in 3 months, even if we've left a message, right? Or we've sent them a text or an email, but they've not actually had a conversation back, that would be massive on the leadership side.
Is there a way that there's like an action plan also? Because this is all looking backwards of when we last contacted them, but maybe something to let me know they wanted to be contacted in a month or in 2 months, or something looking forwards, or even
The smart plans. Okay. A good idea.
Yeah, I agree. I was kind of thinking the same thing. So that you're looking for a tickler file or a when to contact.
Okay. And can we get the mic here?
Under the agents section, does that have recruits that I can import into there?
So here's what we arrived at with that was that you would put agents in command. If you put anyone in command, you'd have a tag that says agents, and this would be a pre-filter just based on the tag or the groups. I'm sorry. And so the idea was when you click that, you would only see the people that were grouped as an agent. Totally up to you. It's your database, right? So if they're recruits, that's an interesting one. Maybe would you treat that differently than agents? Would you have a recruits filter?
Well, I'm actually not a team leader now. I was a team leader in the past. However, I'm passionate about building my profit share tree, so I have a database of agents that I contact regularly. And I would love also the same filter of knowing the last time I spoke to them. Of course, I'd love to know what their last listings were, and I don't know if we can, how much you can. Yeah, I'd want to be able to say, you know, hey, I'm in the area, can I stop by? And B, I see you closed a $1 million listing, hey, congratulations. I don't know how in-depth.
No, that's great feedback. We haven't explored this for recruiting. My question to you is, when you put those people in your database, do you treat them as contacts, agents, or something else?
In my database, they have two filters. They have agent and external, right? So I have an external on their file, which means they're not in my market center, they're outside, right? And then I actually have agent internal for agents that I work with or agents in my market center. So I just have extra filters so that I know who to, you know, what message to send to them.
Yeah, no, that's a great use case. I think we had Hannah over there.
Can this, well, I'm not going to ask can, it can.
But don't ask, tell,
How
right?
how about we do this? I work with a lot of new agents and they're looking to farm an area. How can we make Kelle be able to allow them to pull up stats in the last 2 years and sort it by agents so that they know what percentage the agent has of the listings that are sold?
So you like to have MLS data, past solds data, and attach that to the agent so you can filter by seeing what agent did.
Exactly. So if somebody's got
near me.
Exactly, in a heartbeat, that would be fabulous.
Yeah.
That will be fabulous.
And doesn't that come into, think about the disappearing cap and different stuff, right? What the agents can't see really quickly is that level of production level for that person. And there's a different variable of incentives if you get a capper versus half capper versus blue person, right? Having those metrics in there tied to the record helps us know that I'm talking to a cap or a $10 million producer and I need to speak differently to them than a new person. So part of that, because it's still one record of a contact.
Yeah.
It would be no different than our own data. I should be able to say, hey, you're a $10 million producer, we should connect, or you're someone I want to be, right? So it's just adding more metrics to those contact records. Just
Yeah,
see
so I love
and
putting your
filtering.
recruiting hat on. You can essentially go to Kelly and say, "Hey, Kelly, recruits near me or cappers near me."
Well, think about it though. Aren't we all recruiters? Profit share.
Yeah.
Is the number one thing. So we can't just think it's team leader specific and agent specific. If we're focusing on them learning more about this, then we need to teach them and be more purposeful about it, because they're really, all it is a referral to the team leader. But if they don't know that information, what they do to me right now is the agents call me saying, "Hey, pull up this person's production, pull up this person's production," all the time. And if it was in there, then they could just go, "Hey, Kelly, what's this person's production?" Add them to my pipeline and send them to my team leader.
Yeah, great feedback. Got an applause here.
One quick go.
Great concept.
The icons that say agent contact inside listings, that snapshot piece there, is it a scrollable piece where you can scroll it and add more there, or are we trying to keep it at the 5?
So what would you want to add more?
Well, when we were talking about that, and I love the idea of like popping it in, because when agents, the best way for a team leader is when a lead is sent to us via technology of some sort, and then there's a conversation back and forth. As a team leader / recruiter / every agent out there that should be doing it, you're right. There needs to be a button if you're looking at who's in your contact base and kind of mets, right? You have contacts, and then you can tag it in command the way you want to.
Right.
If I am looking at opportunity in that, it would be nice to have a button. I don't know if contacts necessarily needs to be there. It needs to be like my database and potential database, or like a recruit button.
Okay.
Like if I'm gonna, so say I'm it's my pipeline, right? And you know, Chip is an agent in my office, and I'm the team leader with him. Yet Jim is somebody that I want. I do. I have no doubt. I'd like to be able to say, agents, push my button, Chip and everybody else shows up, and then push a button that says recruits.
Okay.
And then kind of what you're saying that.
Well, I think if you think design-wise, right? Design-wise, it would be customizing those 5 and scrolling to say here's more, or a little tab that says indicating slide to do more views, because eventually we're not going to have just the 5.
Yeah.
When we have 60 views, 80 views, what's going to be more important? Because each view is going to be different for your role, your role, your role.
Well, and then you can choose like which 5 do I want to see pop up, so then you don't have the small piece.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, the
These are my
filters.
5 that I want to see all the time.
I love the view. I wouldn't change the view. I would
Yeah.
make it so that I can scroll here and give me the customization. Maybe I want to flip it. Maybe I want the list above and not below. Like, with
Okay.
my customization.
Very interesting, Jim.
Okay, so is this going to have the ability to interact with our pipeline report and with broker metrics? Broker metrics does.
Well, that's what I'm hearing, right? Is you want third-party recruiting data. So broker metrics would be a great integration.
Not want,
into
need.
your-
Yeah, that's the
It's not a want, it's a need and a must.
Yeah, I definitely love the brokermetric integration to that. I think from an agent perspective too is right now you have an ability to add a contact right there live on an open house, categorize them, so maybe just adding another drop where they can put, refer to team leader and add a specific area ready for notes. So hey, met them at an open house, great connection, please follow up, and then have it to have an ability to then ding me, the team leader.
Okay, so I hit contact and I have the 3 primary ones we talked about. In here, you're talking about refer to TL as an option? Yeah.
Or even add notes or add the different features that you're going to want to do, right? Because we want to see view the record. We want to do more with it. The goal is not to leave the app.
Yeah, so you guys are getting to here, right? So click Jim Wilson. I want to see the contacts. And so as I scroll down, and here this is designed by agents before you, right? So right off the bat, you have the 3 primary communications: call, text, email. You have the contact information: phone, email, address with directions. So you click that, you can open up directions. Groups, as we talked about. And then something interesting here is people want to see most recent activity. So based off the command timeline, what's the most recent interaction you had? And then below that, most recent note. So what was the last note we had? And from that, you can see more activity or see more notes. As mentioned earlier, we had social media. We also have relationships and collaborators. And so my question to you is, we're talking about, hey, something I'm hearing here is maybe in here, click these 3 dots, add a note or refer to TL. This screen might be more appropriate for that.
Yes or no?
Well, I'm saying no because I don't want to even go into the contact record, right? So I want a quick note feature, and to me, the address isn't always the most important thing most of the time. Like, I want it in there, don't get me wrong. I'd rather have the notes up above because that's really the first interaction, latest interaction. Where are my latest notes? Because when they're calling me and I'm trying to scroll through my phone to say, okay, let me find the latest note. Oh wait, what was that? It was 2 weeks ago. You told me, what was your daughter's name? And I'm stumbling to find it. It's the speed of the lead, right? So having that kind of information above is more important. So in this view, I would have a note icon right there.
Quick notes interaction.
Quick notes interaction right there, because then I don't have to go into it and have it pop up. And then if I go to the record, I want the notes higher up in the list, right? Because you have the icon for calling. Why do I need the phone number below? Right? I mean, I'm not diminishing. I'm saying that that's the typical contact record in a phone. And thinking about it past it, the phone number's already there. If I want to see the phone number, I should be able to tap the icon and it would tell me the phone number.
So what I'm hearing from Jay is he prioritized most recent notes up to the top. Agree or disagree? Agree? You like that idea? Yeah, her point is if you have, we're trying to do quick action is the mindset I'm hearing. And so with that, replace maybe some of the information with more actionable items, such as see notes, add notes, see activity, create activity.
Well, look how much real estate is there right now and how little data there is. Think about it. You have to scroll down. There's so much data there, even the spacing and the grouping there, right? Okay. How do I get to my most important meats and potatoes in a millisecond if it's not speed? Versus me having to scroll, because think about normal websites. People don't read the full post. They don't scroll to the bottom of the website. I shouldn't have to scroll all the way down to find all my info, right? Like right there, you're already scrolling beyond.
Yeah, the challenge you have, Jay, is that when any mobile interaction, if, for instance, you wanted to see more, I can't. The challenge is me telling you no. It's just the challenge is scroll. So we prioritize, right? What do you want at the top quickest? And I think we got that. Anything else in the contact detail page you guys think is missing, or anything else you prioritize?
Yeah, so for me, the biggest piece is, especially if we're wanting to refer to a TL, if it's an agent you've interacted with, how do you add collaborators? Because why isn't the TL just a collaborator on those agents in your database?
Would you
where
want,
they can
that's a
pull
good
your
question.
notes, interactions, your conversation, so they have that history, and it's a completely warm lead.
So would you want, whenever you added an agent to your database, let me put this back on you. If you wanted to add an agent to your database, by default you want the TL as a collaborator on that?
Not by default, but add them as you feel it's time to transition over. Or maybe if it's dependent on the TL, maybe every TL wants to know the minute you have that conversation.
Like an auto suggestion.
Good idea.
Do you want to talk to the team leader? You might John's good.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Are one of the options down there, one of them is last contact, right? Is the next step in there? What's your next step?
Last contact here?
Yeah. And down below, I saw recent activity and your most recent notes, but what about your next step? Like, that would be cool.
So if they're on a smart plan, you'd like to see not just what's most recent activity, but what's the next touch?
Correct.
So if there's an email going out tomorrow, you might be like, hey, do a drop by, I might actually take them up. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Interesting, very interesting. Yes, right here.
And from so there's, programs like Recruiting Bridge, which once the agent enters their information into Recruiting Bridge, anything I do as a team leader actually notifies the agent. And I'm able to move them from called, texted. It normally comes through email to the team leader. And anytime I change the status of Recruiting Bridge to say texted, called, appointment set, it actually dings the agent on the other side. Hey, the team leader has met, texted, appointment set, and they get really excited.
So in this instance, we added the TL as a collaborator. Yes. Anytime something changes to the contact record, the collaborator gets notified.
All the way to even when you hit join, it sends a message to the agent that say congratulations, so and so has joined the team.
Okay, interesting.
So just, can you scroll back to the top, please?
Yes, ma'am.
So I am less likely to send an email because I'm less likely to read an email. That's my world. It's a text and that gets it passed. Why not customize, like we were talking about before, what buttons I prefer to see on my contacts? Meaning I can still email them, but you can put a note button up there. So if a note is a piece, you don't have to worry about changing the notes being up or down or swiping up and down, but I can just hit the button for note I type in the note and it immediately updates, but I customize them either, because I would want a call, a text, and a note up there. If I'm going to email someone, that's an extra step for me anyways. It's less likely for me to do that.
So you bring up a good point. Do you guys track like preferred method of communication with your contacts? Okay, and would that be helpful to show that up here? To your point, instead of adding and removing those, but to show the preferred method? Is that what I'm hearing?
Like one contact record.
It automatically pops up. I mean, that would be, it would maybe have a red.
Okay, you somehow differentiate that this is the preferred method?
Something else I would love to see, I deal with more with my agents and clients, is the quick notes about, do they have kids, do they have a spouse, what's the spouse's name, because I'm expected to remember a lot of details, and that extra personal touch means so much. And so being able to call somebody and say, hey, how's your wife Jackie doing? And have that just really quickly at the very top. And I don't want to have to search for it or read a paragraph of what I left before.
Yeah.
I just want a very quick, wife Jackie, kids 3, ages whatever.
I love that. So let's talk about that a little bit, about how you currently track relationships in your database. Raise the hands if you just track it in the notes of a contact. Raise the hands if you actually put like a spouse, they're in your database as well. They're both in your database.
Sometimes.
Okay, how do you know, how do you know, for this instance, we can see that Jane Wilson has a spouse. Jane Wilson, under command, we have the relationships tab, so that's where we're pulling that information. We're pulling Jane Wilson. She's also a contact, so you can see she was contacted us 3 months ago. My question to you is, like, how do you want to see, you mentioned, yeah, seeing kids and all that. I'm just curious, how do you do it today, and how do you want to see it here? The way the agents before you designed it was, in command, you can add spouse, and if they're a contact record, it's hyperlinked in command, and it shows to their contact details. So all we did was pull that information here for relationships. But to your point, for like kids, for example, you might not have a contact. Would you put that in the notes? First names in the notes? Okay.
It's probably a better way of doing it.
On the contact, is there I'm not stop asking, is there a way? What if we did like a goal section?
Goals.
So I'm a productivity coach, so being able to put this in, because right now I handwrite it, and it's ridiculous.
Handwrite what?
Their goals, like every time I meet with them, we're writing their goals.
Or with an agent.
Correct, or their next steps, right? But being able to have it in that contact, separate from the note section, I mean, it's a separate customizable tab, so I can keep track of it and even be able to share that with them. So that way there's no excuse if they say, oh, I didn't write it down. It's sent to them.
Okay. So it's just an interesting field, a separate field for goals if they're an agent in your database.
Well, not even the agent goal, right? The goal of buying a home, selling a home, like, isn't there technically a goal with everyone you're talking to?
Do you currently track motivations and goals for your database, for your client contacts?
Well, we rate them in the pipeline.
You rate them in the
6,
pipeline?
9, 8, 5, right?
So a rating for the contact would be helpful on here? Is what I'm hearing? Yeah, okay.
Yes, currently in the relationship section, I don't prefer to put the kids' names in the notes because then that note disappears and then I'm trying to figure out. So just having, and again, maybe it's an option, right? Is there a kids button somewhere right up next to relationships, like additional contacts that I wouldn't have necessarily see all the time? If I'm gonna make a call, I can click it and go, oh, 2 kids, Bob and Jane, right? Kind of in that relationship area. So that I could get that more info, rather than, because you can't put everything on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have to be mindful, right? Purposeful.
I assume you could add a tag too. Tag it with kids, tag it with pets or dogs, cats. Because I go back to the map, right? The interactive map, and how if I'm looking at an area and I know I'm going to have an event in that area that's geared toward young children, how can I filter for all my contacts and see who has young children that I would really like to invite?
So you would want to filter by relationships as well.
Why not?
If it's like a kids party.
Well, like we do a
contacts
Halloween thing.
Interesting.
How do we invite all of our contacts that have young kids? Yeah. Or dog wash or something like that.
So kind of a relationship filter. And went back in the map. Very interesting. Christopher.
I was gonna say, even making that like a swipe through. So for like Jane Wilson, you can just swipe to the left and it'll bring up like the kid she has.
Very cool. Any more feedback on, I think I just logged myself out. Any more feedback on the contact details page? I'd like to go to the map and have another conversation. I think Jay raised his hand.
What just popped in was thinking about, right, seeing what they're up to. I almost feel like the social media there, what if it was a little like latest posts inside there? Like, I'm thinking collapsible now. I thought about big there. What if I had a collapsible thing? But if I collapse,
You're just adding more and more in here.
you already have the data. All we're doing is making it in one view, right? So if I don't have to leave the system to go to a contact manager to look at a Facebook post, I just want to see their most recent post. And if I click the Facebook icon, what if I just swipe to see, oh, they just went on vacation? And then when I call them in 2 seconds, they go, hey, the Hawaii vacation looks like you had a really great time. How's everything going, right? Like, that's the whole point of the conversations.
Yeah, so to validate what Jay just said, is when you go to a client's Facebook, is the primary reason you do that, or motivation, just to see the most recent post, what's they've been up to most recently? Is that a fair statement? And click like so that your name pops up?
Just say like.
Very cool, love that. Okay, so so going back here, we need your guys' help on something we're trying to figure out. So here we can see Jim and Jane Wilson. They're circled red, right? On the map, it's circled red as well. There's only one icon here. However, there's 2 contacts associated to that address. They're husband and wife. So therefore, there's only one directions button because it's one address. Challenge to you is, how do you want to see multiple people living in a similar address? So this is one example of a husband and wife. Yes.
I cannot see the colors from back here around the icons. When you talked about earlier, I was like, what colors?
This one's
They look like 5 green icons to me.
Yeah. The icons are green, and then there's the circle around.
I can't see the circle around.
Sorry.
So I'm just saying that for a.
Can it just change to solid red?
Well, that's what I was going to suggest, is instead of having green with red around it, why not just a solid red icon for view? But then to answer your question, that seems like wasted space to have 2 separate lines for the exact same family unit.
So that's going to be in Jane and Jim, and then when you...
So it's like what you wanted to be Jim and Jane?
Yeah. And then if you're going to call them, when you hit it, it'll say, do you want to call Jim or do you want to call Jane?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So it would show them into one line item, but then directions would take you obviously to one address. Contact would be which one?
Well, and I could prioritize who I want to contact out of the 2, and you can have them as the primary contact and the secondary contact. Because typically you're not wondering.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, one thing I'm thinking of is I like the circles up above, but you notice Jim has a picture. I love the top part to be a picture. And what if those icons, when it's 2 in one place, what if there's a little red circle just telling me the 2, the 1, right? Or even like they do the double circle together, saying, hey, husband and wife in one location. Because if we're going to start building this with photos and social media to pull the photos in eventually, I want to look at the map and see a photo because I'm not going to know what that green dot is. So my eyes going to look.
So here's a question to you, Jay. If Jim and Jane both have a photo,
right,
whose photo shows up here?
I want it to be a double of the 2 of them
Double
together, like not the full circle, like the double circle.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Husband and wife.
Okay, so I'm going to take that
Bigger phone.
I'm going to take that a step further. So, who here has contacts that live in like a high-rise condo? And who here has multiple contacts that live in that same condo? So my question to you is so that was one way to do it. You mentioned we'll just have both of the contacts on there. But let's say, you have 10 contacts in the same, pretty much same address, right? Different apartment number, but they're kind of in the same area.
Flower view of all the...
How do we show that?
A number.
A number on top of the icon?
Yeah.
To show you how many...
Yes. How many you have.
And then you click it, it would populate a list view of all the 10 in there. So this...
I was going to say, or if they just had maybe like a condo view or like a building view, so you can have like a list for the
So you would change the icon to like a condo icon? Is that what?
Yeah, maybe something like that, or having in the list view, you can have it as just like a building. You click in the building, and then the contact list drops down with all the clients in there.
Okay. Interesting. Any other thoughts how we could group them in? Right now, what I've heard is we're just going to put a little number on top of the icon. Once we hit that, it would open up all of them. However, if there's 2 we'd have the same action we did here and pull up Jim and Jane Wilson.
I don't really want to see a number 2 if it's one family unit, because it's not two contacts, it's one contact, even though it's 2 individuals. So if I'm looking at my agents, I want to see how many of my agents are in this area, and it pulls up 20. I don't want 10 agents and 10 spouses. I want to know there's 10. And then, I mean, when I look at the details, okay, yeah, there's their spouse's info, but I don't want that to be a contact number, because I'm going to be thinking the wrong number.
So let's think through that. So if I have 2 contacts in a condo, and then I have a husband and wife house next to each other, for the husband and wife, how would I differentiate the difference? I'd have a number 2 for the condo, but for the residential home, what would you say, 1?
Because
when you
it's
click
one
it,
family unit.
So, but when you clicked it, both would pop up on the list of you?
Well, I wouldn't want a number on it.
You wouldn't want a number.
Right, if it's one contact, we don't need the 2 to tell me there, right?
Okay.
I don't, yeah, that's the complete opposite for me. I think that I would want to know the number just because I'm an assistant team leader, however, I still sell as an agent. So for my contacts for agents, for my clients, even if it's a husband and wife, I still mail to them, I still market to them individually as well, because they all have their own connections with people. Just because they're married, they still have other people outside. So I have a client that is a doctor, and then I have a client that works for Coca-Cola. Well, I want all of their spheres as well. They don't necessarily mingle, connect at all times. So I actually do call them both. I won't just say, okay, I'm just going to call the husband and then depend on the husband to tell the wife, oh yeah, I talked to LaDuina today. Do you know someone that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? I make both of those contacts.
So yes, what I'm hearing is it's one detail that the address is what they have in common. So you'd see one address with a number 2. You click on it, and there's 2 different contacts show up on the list view. Let me pull it back up. Actually, we lost it real quick. Do we have another, Jim?
Yeah, what I'd love to see is if you go back to the map.
I think my laptop died.
and the icon.
Can I borrow yours? Yeah. Do you have HDMI?
The icon is illuminated. You click on the icon, then it shows you the 15 people that are associated with that icon.
Yeah.
But that's like easy, rather than the number up there. You click on the icon, and 50 people live.
Well, you wouldn't click it if you didn't know the number.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry guys. Should check the battery life on the laptop. I'll pull it up. But the map we're talking about is still this old one, with the newness. Great. So the next part of the, sorry Jay, you had a thought?
I was just going to say, maybe then what you do is you give us a choice. Do you want to count the husband and wife as one record, or do you want to do 2, right?
Because some people do it that way, but then there's some that say, hey, email us, we have one email address for the 2 of us, right? So there should be a choice to identify that relationship, to say, hey, are we counted as one entity, or do you want it to be separate? Whether that's a merge or something. But there should be a choice there, then that way you get what you want and you get what you want. And we're not forced into it, because you're right, not every couple wants one email. Some of them say, hey, email me differently, and we're 2 separate entities.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and same idea, but to be able to identify who's the primary contact of that relationship that you're in touch with, and then is there the option to add a nickname to where you can say the Sergeant household, so that you know there are multiple people that you're in touch with versus having both of them show up.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do it today?
Control it from the contact line. So for me, in my Apple contacts, I can assign a nickname to people to where I know who I'm calling them and how I'm maintaining that relationship that way. And usually I just have that one person that I'm normally touching up. But if you do have both people, you want to see both people.
Yeah. So to me, what I really hear is kind of making it. Here we go. Hey, we're back. Is making it work for both scenarios, right? So to find the common medium that both of you using this would work for the way you intend. Cool. So what I'd love to get to next, to respect everyone's time, is so filters. So we touched on this a little bit, but so contacts near me. We talked about agents. We talked about recruits. talk about clients. Now it's kind of like, okay, what else is missing from here? So with the agents before, you said by default we went with a 5-mile radius is what we decided on, but you can go in and you can kind of differentiate 1 to 10, if not more. From there we have sort by, so that's kind of for the list. Groups, so we mentioned seeing specific groups. So if you had a recruits group in your whole database, you just see that and groups would populate. Lead source was an interesting one. People said that, hey, if I want to see contacts near me that I generated through an open house, those might be people I might want to invite to the next open house. Last contacted, which we decided was the most popular one, and then we have that as a default. We also have home and work address. That was a really interesting one about, hey, I also want to see where my clients are working near me. Maybe I can do a drop off a gift for them and their colleagues. And then last one we had there was transaction date. So how long ago was it since their last purchase? Anything? So one, I want to get your thoughts on what you'd like to add, what we're missing. Neighborhood.
Because in our area, one neighborhood to another, even though they're half a mile apart or less, it can be a big difference.
Okay, so actually in the filters, you'd be able to select by neighborhoods within that map view? Okay, interesting. We got a map view.
And with neighborhoods, is there a possibility to connect to the next door?
Yeah. When you say next door,
next door being next door.
Yeah, but you link that neighborhood. So, what do you link? The neighborhood boundaries provided by Nextdoor, or you want to click something and go on Nextdoor?
So typically with Nextdoor, when you register for Nextdoor, you have to register a specific neighborhood, specific zip code. So if it was just like a hyperlink, you would actually be able to do that, and then you can send a market snapshot for that neighborhood too.
Yeah.
Directly from there.
Yeah, we can definitely do the market snapshots for that neighborhood. One of the challenges Nextdoor has is if you're not part of that neighborhood, it's a limited view, and they only have that for some neighborhoods. So.
Yeah, and some agents actually give us feedback that they like that because they just want to farm 2.5 neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Whatever they don't want to get out of that. The other button I was looking for was favorites.
Favorites.
Yeah, way to.
So in your database, how do you have favorites?
So right now, and I just go through Apple, is if I click on one of my contacts, there's all these hyperlinks here. In fact, if I hit on the email, it shows the last email they sent me. If you click on the neighborhood, it shows me exactly where the neighborhood is.
Yeah, but when you said, so in your database, do you have favorites today?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just stars that use favorite contacts in your database?
Yeah, and especially with Recruiting Bridge, I'm able to ping them to like the hot list.
Okay. Someone else had their hand raised.
So are groups tags? So then.
Well, would that
just
be
clarification?
would that be status? Like, is there a status search there? And then the other thing I thought of was smart plans, right? Where's the ability to sort through my smart plans and my next steps or apply them quickly?
Yeah, so I think we talked about add to smart plan quick note. We'd also want to see by contacts near me on this specific smart plan.
What step was it? What was the contact last name?
Yeah. Very interesting. So maybe even a smart plan filter, then a sub filter of where within that smart plan. Very interesting.
So the notes on the contact, when someone's on a smart plan, if it executes the activity, does it auto add a note?
No, so we saw when we went back to the contact details page, there was most recent activity. So that's an activity, not a note. Note would be separate, right? So the timeline view, what you can see, if you put someone on a smart plan, and you guys alluded to this, was you can see the most recent, but you also see what's coming up. So if they had a smart plan, you can see the next touch point as well. Cool. Any other feedback on filters? Cool. We nailed it. We did good. Awesome. Well, what's that?
Version 1.1.
Version 1.1 indeed. Great, guys. So, that's pretty much it for today. I'd like to spend the last 5 minutes just, how do we feel about this new Kelle scale? Yay? Nay? Okay? Yeah? Yes.
So, as an MCA from Houston, last year through Harvey, this would have been so amazing because as neighborhoods were getting flooded, we were asking which one of our agents live in that neighborhood, and we didn't know. We were going off memory because there's not an easy way from Winmore to export all the addresses and sort it on the map. There's nothing that communicates that. And so to be able to pull up a map and say, oh my goodness, these 10 agents are right there, and be able to contact them and go, are you okay? Do you need anything? I'm here for you.
Or your clients too.
It's great. Yeah, it's a great.
Well, and we had a hurricane in Tampa, so that would have been the exact same thing. We're like calling them, how's everything doing? So that's actually.
Yeah, that's a great use case. Any other ways you can see yourself using this Kelle skill?
You guys like the most patient people.
The most patient people. I'm thinking here as a team relationship, I'm like, they're patient. Because if you guys have been throwing me all that, I've been like, I'm out. So great job on all that you guys are doing. I mean, I am jazzed about just taking this down back to the agents. So you guys have done a phenomenal job. So thank you.
Thank you. Jay, one last one.
Sorry. What I love about it is the fact that, think about it, we're more interactive with the maps. The whole goal is to get out of the office, get out of my car, and go meet with more people, go out there. And it's about relationship building, right? That's what Zillow can't compete against, because they're not physically belly to belly, foot in the ground, right? And this is going to allow me to do more of that, be more purposeful around it by using the map to see, hey, you know what, I'm having coffee here. Who's an agent nearby that I might be able to pop in, or a client that I can just drop by real quick and give them something of value? And remind me that, hey, based on my location, boom, 2 doors down is a neighbor I forgot about that I can go say hey to real quick and strengthen it.
Yeah, right on. Well, thanks for having the idea to build this skill.
No, you guys are amazing, and this is absolutely something that takes us to the next level. My dream would be to have it one time available in Spanish. My backyard and my immediate pool has over 3,000 agents, and predominantly Hispanic speaking. So everything we do from Ignite to script practice, we're having to translate everything.
Yeah, we're still teaching Kelle English, so once we get
yeah, so the next phase, finally.
Espanol, coming soon.
See.
Okay, cool. Well, we're out of time. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for your time. And then as a thank you, after this, meet me right here in the closet next door, and we'll get you a free t-shirt. Only bad news, we're out of larges. You guys are the last group, so XL medium, they run a little large. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for watching. It was a great lab, a lot of fun. This is just a preview of what we do. Other labs physically make it, draw it, give feedback, so it's really exciting. Thanks for watching.